So this is evaluation question number 3, which is about how my production skills have developed since starting this project, or coursework, I suppose. And I'll be covering these areas. So number 1, project documentation. So my website basically, and a few other things. Number 2, flash and camera use. And then number 3 and 4 being Photoshop and InDesign use. So to start with, let's go to project documentation. So when it comes to actually documenting my website, I've obviously used screencasts, which is actually what you're literally watching right now, which I've used doing QuickTime Player, and you can, as you can see, new screen recording, and then blah blah blah, you get the point. Up here I can stop it, or on the keyboard itself. That's how I've documented a lot of the projects, because it's just easy to show you my screen and stuff. Another thing, and the main thing actually, is my website itself. So the Keller Media, Toby Evans, documenting my journey through the A-level media studies course. This documents everything. I mean, I've got blogs from every month. You've got the August blog going blah 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 through. You can see the preliminary task if my Wi-Fi was fast enough to load it. It'll get there eventually. But see, this is Google Sites, as you can see here, sites.google.com/that huge thing there. But originally I was looking at using Wix, which is this site. The reason I had a change was because it was actually a little too complicated for me. It had a bit too many features to offer, and also I had to change it just due to like school policies and stuff, so wouldn't have mattered anyway. So I'm on Google Sites, and as you can see, there's my preliminary task. Isn't it awful? Anyway, yeah, so I've got all the blogs going up to February 2019. I mean, I kind of stopped work on coursework generally, other than the evaluation that I'm doing now around here. But yeah, like, so the website, I found this most useful just because you can document everything here. I mean, look, it's ridiculous. And also, like, this is a preview thing, so this is actually the editing thing. It's very simple to understand. You publish button there, you got a preview version button there, so you can go and boom, this is what the website would look like if you're actually looking at it. You've got the insert thing here, so you can insert images, you can embed files. So I embedded my magazine using a website called Issuu. ISSUU, and that basically will take a long time to load because my Wi-Fi is awful, but it allowed you to sort of upload a PDF file of your magazine to this website, and then it would allow you to then go through the magazine digitally as if you were swiping the pages in real life. It is here, you will see it if you look yourself. I'm afraid I don't think it's gonna load. We can see. But yeah, so you can embed things, so I did embed it. Here you can kind of, it's trying its best. Oh, here you go, look, there you go. And you can go through it and stuff, and I found this to be very useful. That's another reason why I like Google Sites, because of the embed thing. It's also connected to Google Drive, which is what Keller uses for literally everything. So I can just go like this and go from my drive, and again in a minute or two my entire drive will show up from everything I do at school. So then I can just go through my files and folders and upload documents and presentations that I've worked on and put them straight into the website, and then people can look at them. So there you go, economics, geography, EPQ, media studies, and other and stuff. So I could go in here and then select a file, like evaluate the impact of something or other, insert that, and then it will be here, and whoever looks at this will be able to look at that. I'm not going to keep that there, I'm going to put this back because I don't want to change things. Anyway, then you got like layouts and stuff, so you can throw these in and throw images and things in. Very useful. It's got a YouTube button, so you just press that and upload videos, which is what all the screencasts are on. So if you go to representation, that's probably got a video. I think that's a YouTube video. You press that button, throws it in. You've got buttons as well. I did explore these. I didn't actually use them though. I preferred to just use like links. But these buttons basically do the same thing. You just press it. It can take you somewhere. So these are all just links to pages on the website. So you can press that and it'll take you to the genre tab. Yeah, so that was generally how I documented. I mean, this website is there, it's got everything. It's got all the blogs of what I've been doing, the tasks, or the research tasks, the planning tasks, instruction of my actual magazine, final product, and obviously evaluation, which is what you're looking at now. So yeah, that's why I just found this the best way to use it. Google Sites. It's just interconnected, simple to use, and yeah, that's how I documented.
Whilst making, like putting this video together, like I've just started, but this bit about project documentation, another bit that's actually kind of relevant about how I documented many of my projects was actually how I edited them together using just iMovie. So I mean, honestly, I don't really know how to do much in iMovie. I mean, all I know how to do is just like fiddling around up here with like cropping and throwing in like making it a bit faster and stuff. Literally as far as my skill goes. I mean, I can throw in music from here. I know how to do that. You just drag and drop it and stick it down here. And I believe at one point I did do image overlays. Like I believe it was something like going above like this, and then yeah, it'd do a cutaway whilst yeah also having the background this speaking, so I'd mute the volume on this one. But anyway, yeah, so I mean, my iMovie skill, I think it's developed a little bit. I've learned how to do that cutaway thing, but to be honest, yeah, my editing's pretty simple. Anyway, moving on with the video.
So yeah, that was my project documentation. Next, I suppose, is going to be camera and flash use. So here's that. So when it comes to using a flash and a camera, I would like to say I've developed quite a lot. I mean, I don't really have any past experience with photography really, other than just messing around with my mum or dad's camera or my phone from time to time, but really I wasn't really very good at any sort of photography. I'd like to say I've developed a lot. So when it comes to flashes, I use this attachment called the Snoot, which is this very weird looking flash attachment which which directs light, like channels it really well. You can put gels in it as well, so you can do colored filters, which I use for my main photo shoot. So that then attaches to the Godox DE400 flash. So I used that as well as using a snoot attachment. I also just used the standard umbrella diffuser for lighting and stuff, and that was that really in terms of flash anyway. Then when it comes to the actual camera and lens, I use the Canon 800D with a 50mm lens on it, which has no zooms, so I had to get creative when it came to moving around to position myself in a good place and make sure the photos came out well. Never used the Canon 800D before, obviously, because I didn't really have much experience with a camera, but it was good. I like to think my photos progressed nicely. I did meddle around a little bit with manual exposure, but primarily just kept it on automatic because it's just easier. But yeah, my skills and for using the camera and flashes have significantly improved, in my opinion. Now we're gonna go on to InDesign. So here's that. Since I've been using InDesign, I'd like to think I've come quite a long way. I mean, you can have a look at my preliminary task on my website and you can just see how far I've come. Well, I think I've come pretty far anyway, because that was not my best piece of work. Right off the bat, one of the most useful things I found out when using InDesign was being able to just press W and being able to switch in and out from the edit mode into what it would look like as an actual magazine. And I personally found it easier to edit in this way because I could see what it would look like when it's finished, whereas when you're in the editing mode, you have this thing like hanging out the edge because that's how I created it, so it looked like it just came out like that. And I don't know, just generally a bit more messy because there's all these little dot things everywhere that came up. The question marks is just because this computer doesn't actually have all the original files for these images because this is my home computer, not the ones at school. But yeah, things like that. One of the most useful tools I found was going into up here where it says advanced and going to typography and then creating paragraph styles for all my texts. So I could change this text here into like a article text, and as you can see it gets, well, much smaller now and it goes to exclusive 150th edition. I'll make that white so it's actually visible, but like that, or like I could make it an article header, cover article, section heading, which was actually in a different color, but you get the point. I could basically change it to whatever I wanted to change it into, which was very helpful. Another thing that was useful to know about was padding. So I went in here and under this one, yeah, here you could change like how far things stuck out. So like, see the text there is now moving in ridiculously. I mean, I don't know why anyone would do it like that, but you can tell. Oopsies, went too far. But yeah, like this was very useful as something to use for making sure that the text boxes were like in the right place, not like right up against the edge. There was enough gap here and things like that. This was a cool trick here, making a transparent thing. So the way I did that was by putting in like a box here, and then with that box you then like made it paper, I believe, and then went into the transparency and made it like 80%. Yeah, so I made it 80%, and then I had the then would have the text box just behind it. I mean, this obviously looks silly because it's 2, so it's not going to work, and this is also in front of it, so I put that behind, but you get the point. That was a really cool feature which I found useful for making this effect here and here. Pull quotes, that again was used with the paragraph style, so you can like open these up and you can edit all sorts of things about it. So to make these ones here, you'd do the paragraph rules and then you put a rule above and below, and then you'd edit where that bar was so that it would look the way you wanted it to. Something I played around with a lot was the color schemes that I wanted to go with. As you can tell from looking at my magazine, obviously, the color scheme that I have gone for is the blue and white with the accent color being red, just because it's an exclusive edition. But the main like accent color I have is blue. Yeah, I played around a lot with that just because I wasn't sure which color I wanted to go with, and at first I had a lot of colors. It just looked a bit messy, so I was told to refine it a bit better. I'm glad I did. I mean, it looks far better now that I've actually just got like one feature color being blue. And the way I did that, obviously, I just go into here, normal, and then, you know, you choose the color you want. Now that's blue. I probably wouldn't do that. I mean, it doesn't even look that bad, to be honest, but I'd probably keep it the same. Maybe I would have made this a bit cooler. I could have made that red, you know, because it's issue 150, but actually looking at it doesn't look that good, so glad I didn't. One of the other things that was important, and I'm glad I learned about, was positioning and things. So being able to throw in an image. So the way like I threw this in was by just making, like, I'll do it over here in edit mode. I made like a red box like that, and then what I do is then grab an image. So like, oh, whoops. Like in here, maybe, do I have any in Finder? Yeah, so like here, I get that, and then you drag it and drop it, and boom, you then have the image in there, in this box. And I would obviously position this box where I wanted the image. So let's say I put it here, and I wanted it to go across 2 and a bit columns like that. And then up here, there's options to the way it like fits in the frame. So like you can have that, it just fits the whole photo. You can have it do that, so it fits the I mean that fills the whole thing and fits the photo better. This one just fits the whole photo. I never did that because it looked a bit ugly. And there's the stretching, and it doesn't look the best one is this one, really, I found. And then you could go in and like move the image around inside the frame to get it the way you wanted it. You could go like that, so you could zoom in more. That's generally how I did my things for moving images around. So that was layout and image adjustments and things like that. All of this stuff is just in the paragraph styles here. Yeah, I made sure in my setup at the beginning of creating this that you can see this purple outline thing here, like the line there, and there, to make columns, the 3 columns. That was vital so that everything would fit in nicely. So obviously if I go like that, they also fit into their own columns. I mean, it's subtle because I don't have it that obviously, but you, like here, this is the best example. Like you can see distinctively you have column, column, column. That was important to do. This was with a text wrap thing, so I made sure that the text would wrap around it by using it up here, so that otherwise it would look like this. So this was an important thing, so that the text would wrap around the pull quote. And yeah, I guess the last thing was my font styles. I made sure that anything that was of like great importance, so the main actual masthead, exclusive special edition, Evan Green interview, sorry, let me move that out of the way, Evan Green interview thing, contents page, features, summary, etc. All the like main titles, they're in a font called Lemon/Milk, bold italic, I believe. Yeah, lemon milk, regular, and I believe it's all regular except for this one, and a few of them are in regular italic, but yeah, that one. And then I used Futura as pretty much everything else except for here in the article description, which is just good old-fashioned Arial italic style, just for, you know, an extra flair, I suppose. Yeah, so I've like to say that I've developed, like, my production skills have significantly developed since the beginning. I mean, as I said at the beginning of this recording of InDesign specifically, you can have a look at my preliminary task, and it is horrifying in comparison to this. I would like to think this is far, far superior in every single way. I mean, everything is super detailed. I mean, oh, another thing I forgot to mention was, like, with the images like this, I went into the border so I can make it rounded or something for certain bits. That was a key feature I learned. But yeah, anyway, so what I was saying was like I would like to think my production skills have significantly developed in InDesign since I started. So yeah. And finally, Photoshop. So when I first started using Photoshop, I didn't really know all that much. I mean, I literally pretty much knew nothing other than how to crop like this. Like, just go there and, you know, crop a bit of that. So bring it up so it's just a headshot. But, like, this is all I knew how to do, really. But since actually trying to learn and being taught by my teacher, Mr. Robson, I've actually developed a few more skills in it. I mean, to be honest, I didn't really Photoshop many of my photos, not like that much anyway. Like all I really did was just some light adjustments here in the levels, curves, brightness, contrast, hue, and colors, and all that. That's kind of all I meddled with, really. One of the cooler things I did learn, though, was the spot healing tool. So I could, like, blend out a background, because in some of the areas I took photos, like this area, actually, on this door, is where one of the main shots was. It had swear word on it, so I had to Photoshop that out. Because I really liked the photo, but I obviously couldn't include the swear word because obvious reasons, really. But using this tool, I learned how to, you know, blend the background so that it would like just disappear and become part of the surrounding colors. So that black bit now is fading away and becoming this color here. So that was one of the cool things I learned. And then other than that, I kind of just messed around here. So I'd like to just make the images more interesting and eye-catching. So I'd play with the brightness. I usually made things darker and then increased the contrast. I mean, not this far, but, you know, like maybe up to here or something, to make it just a bit more interesting. And then I'd play with the curves a little bit. So like I'd maybe bring that down a bit more. Then go to here and sort of bring that up a bit. I like to play around a bunch, really, until I found something I liked. Another one I played with is not Vibrance. I don't know, yeah, I did do Vibrance, actually, because I wanted to just increase the colors more. Like, not to this extent, because that looks ridiculous, but like more of a natural state. And then I'd often play with the hue and the saturation sometimes, but I mean, not all the time. I did try playing around with other things like the black and white. You know, it can look cool, but I decided not to put any in my actual magazine just because, I don't know, it didn't seem like it matched the overall theme. But anyway, yeah, those are the main things I learned with Photoshop. As I said, I didn't really use Photoshop all that much. It was quite just light adjustments playing here to just make them pop a bit more like this. But yeah, that was basically all I learned on Photoshop. I didn't really do that much of it. I primarily used InDesign and the actual way I took the photos to make them more interesting. So yeah. This is the end of my evaluation question number 3. Thank you for watching.